So, you're listening to Average Rants here at KNMC
90.1
FM
for the last Sunday.
Yes, this will be our last Sunday, and we'll discuss some things and figure out when we can come back. And I know everyone is listening.
Yeah, they're crying.
They're like, why?
Yeah.
Like, what have we done to deserve you guys not being on the air? And unfortunately, it's hockey season.
Yeah. It comes our wives, kids, hockey, maybe food, and then you guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
Guys got to eat.
Yeah, so we're going to figure it out. We're not going to be gone, but it may take us a little bit to figure out what our schedules do.
We'll be here in spirit.
Yeah. But we'll be back, and then we'll probably post something on
exhausted.
our Facebook.
I bet exhausted.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we should just do late night after hockey.
Exhausted.
And then people can just hear us being like, so.
Just stink. Can you imagine this poor room would just stink? Oh. But we'll be back and thinner. You know?
Yeah. My wife told me that, so I ran into a professor around here, Heskey. Ran into him, said hi while I was going to class. And apparently he went and told my wife that it looked like I'd been getting thinner. And I was like, yeah, I know. I've been eating healthy.
So says the Swedish fish. And he's on a Swedish diet.
I'm on, I think my diet's called the stress diet.
The glucose diet. What is it? It's just pure sugar. All
It's
sugar.
pure sugar and stress that lowers the calories.
Okay, what?
Oh, they can barely see me. So Sammy's a little disappointed.
Well, here, I'll make it better. I'm sorry you actually had to see him at all.
Yeah, she's got all right. I'm going to go just kind of look through this to see if there's something different than what we usually do, because I think with like the Burger Feed fundraisers and everything happening at the library, everybody knows that if they listen to us. Here we go. We got Thursday, October 7th is the Havre High School Parent Teacher Conference. I can tell you right now that if I was in that situation, I would dress up in a weird way to meet their teacher so that they're like, oh, well, the kid's not that bad then. Well, that's at 4 to 7:30. Saturday, October 9th. Oh my goodness, I didn't even realize I am in this.
What?
And on Saturday, October 9th is the 12th annual Death by Chocolate Gala. That's at 5:30 p.m. at the St. Jude Central Gym. I am in that. We have our first rehearsal kind of thing tomorrow. And I didn't know that it was then. I thought I had like a month. So if you want to see me in action, I do know that I play a football jock, believe it or not. So I don't know anything about football. So we'll see how that goes.
He knows more than he's letting on.
Yeah, but I mean, to me, to play a football jock, I should literally be like, yo, what's up? What?
The Havre Youth Hockey is having its annual banquet October 31st. Tickets are available.
That's not on this one.
I know. I'm smarter than you. I remember things. You could also purchase 50/50 tickets for those. 3 for $20 or $20 a ticket, or 3 for $50. The Havre Youth Hockey has a Venmo account, so if you'd like to purchase a ticket, you can do so that way.
Should we get Average Rants
t-shirts? I'm sorry, it's the 30th, not 31st.
Should we get Average Rants t-shirts and donate it to the auction?
We should.
And I can print some minis.
What's your fascination? We're going to do minis for everything.
I could make little hockey players.
Right.
And then paint them the Ice Hawks colors.
So yeah, you can buy tickets as individuals, or you can buy a table. I don't remember the exact prices on those, but
yeah, don't quote us because we don't know nothing.
We know nothing.
We just try to get the info.
But it's a good time. Get out there, support your local sports. There's a silent auction for all kinds of stuff. My wife sold a cheesecake there last year. Bid on the cheesecake. We can vouch for it. It's delicious.
It's pretty good. I mean, I sold a hockey stick for more than I should have got.
You sold a hockey stick at one of the games?
No, I just mean to your wife.
Oh, yeah.
I was just trying to get something for my wife, and it turned out to be like a gold mine. I think we made like $1,000, and you guys, like that was only like $100 stick.
Right.
So.
Well, and here's the thing. My wife doesn't use the stick. I do.
Yeah.
So my wife bought me a stick with cheesecake.
Yeah.
Worth it.
So I got my wife something with my hockey stick, and your wife got you something with her cheesecake.
Right.
It's a beautiful thing. Is it marriage silly?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
Sometimes when we hear the little dings, I feel like we're getting yelled at.
We usually are. Anyway. So there's that. They don't lead us to anything in here, so I don't know if anything else is happening.
I mean, because festival days just ended. There's usually not too much.
Yeah, pretty slow. But what starts this weekend though, Barry? What starts October 12th?
October 12th hockey.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. The NHL season starts October 12th.
That's right. I've got my draft picks, and the guys that I'm playing against don't know what they're up against. Well, we did it. They don't know too much about hockey, so they kind of went by how they were ranked last year. But the thing about last year is
COVID year, weird.
You were playing teams that were like, let's be honest, Toronto won way more games than they probably would have.
So how's that work with Canadian teams this year? Are they actually coming down?
Yeah, like everything's open. They've had Seattle up there playing against Vancouver.
Right.
So.
I just wasn't sure if they were actually going to be like.
So I think
open.
the way the borders are right now is they're open, but people are telling me that they're having issues coming back into the United States, where they can get through, but they're a little bit more.
Well, I think billion-dollar sports teams they're gonna let through.
Yeah, they're probably just like, oh, what, and then they hand them a hockey bag or something.
Oh, and then there's the St. Jude's Pumpkin Patch, October 22nd and 23rd.
Yeah.
Yeah. We went to the Pumpkin Patch yesterday. You missed out, bro.
Yeah, I know. I was driving.
Yeah.
I was driving.
Yeah, we got to hang out all afternoon.
You don't realize that I drove for more than like triple the time that I was in a meeting for that I drove down there for.
Go Bozeman.
But I mean, I think it was worth it. I had that meeting, and I think I made a bunch of good points for adult hockey. So,
just hockey.
And I mean, I know that this is on the air, but this is usually just our ranting back and forth to each other. But Glasgow said that they have more than enough ice time if we need to do something.
Sweet. I don't know if I want to travel that far to play.
Well, I just meant if we wanted to do a tournament.
Nice. We could do that. That'd be sweet.
And I even suggested that we just make it between Havre and them and see what we can do with a small community kind of thing. But cool thing too, I found out that when I travel around going to adult program stuff for the season, that I'm covered under Maha, so it's nothing out of pocket.
There you go. You just turn it in, huh?
Yeah, it was funny. They were
they
talking.
write you a check. You're like, I'm going to eat some. Oh, I'm eating some lobster tonight, bro.
Yeah, well, they were talking about the people that get their hotels covered, and a bunch of the board members there were like, does that count us? They're like, no, you guys are representatives, not technically board members. You're just representatives that vote for your association. So your associations have to cover it. And they're like, well, who's covered? And they're like, well, adult hockey. And I looked at the guys around me. I'm like, get out of town.
No way, right? You gonna scratch me a check for that B&B I just spent $200 on last night.
Well, that goes to Havre Youth Hockey because I was there for that.
Oh, okay. But still.
I know, but it makes it so I can travel around and actually try to do something this hockey season.
Right.
But yeah, I won't rant too much about that. But that was just something that.
You're an actor. I'd imagine Halloween's one of your favorite times of the year, right?
It's all right.
You like dressing up. But you got the Havre JC's Haunted House, the 21st to the 31st at the Havre Fairgrounds.
I've never done that.
Really? Me neither. Because they used to have it above the Eagles.
Okay.
And apparently that building's not sounding safe enough for that anymore.
Then that makes it perfect for a haunted house.
Right. But yeah. They're looking for volunteers to help with the event. You can go check it out on Facebook somewheres.
You know, I've always wondered because I've never done something like that where you're an actor and like because I've done haunted houses. I even went to a Six Flags and did like one of those high end ones, and I want to punch things that come at me, right? But you can hold back because you know.
So fun story. Your wife can't wrap her head around the things that I dislike. Like, I hate mazes, right? I don't like being in a place that I can't get out of.
Well, that's just it. You can. You just gotta figure it out.
That's the thing. Like, I just don't like being in a place where I can just go, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to leave. So I really, absolutely hate that. So she was having all kinds of fun watching me be all, and my wife as well, both laughing at me while I got my son on my shoulders. Because, first of all, if he takes off and gets lost in the maze, that's just going to freak me out even more because I'm not going to be able to find him or my way out.
Where's Derek? He went in the maze 3 days ago.
All right. And she's like, well, would you do a safe room? You mean you want to lock me into a room that I definitely can't get out of? Like, I could have got out of the hay maze just fine. I could climb.
Okay, no. I talked about this with Sammy a little bit this morning about because we've done safe rooms. I think if you went with us, no, you would enjoy it because of the things that I do.
No,
we went into one year, and
I don't like it that much.
Well, I don't like
the fact that we're locked in this little room.
But I didn't like the puzzles, and there was this safe, and there was something in it, but we didn't know the combo. So I just worked on that and pried that sucker open. Well, they did everything else.
If they locked you and I in a safe room, they would open it like 6 years later and just find our skeletons.
Yeah, but we'd be like thumbs up.
Right. At least there was Bryan Adams CDs. But
I don't mind safe rooms just because
escape rooms, safe rooms, they're all terrible.
I go in with a different mindset than most people. Most people go in being like, I'm going to solve the clues. I go in, how can I break this?
Right. But not my thing. My wife wants to know them, so take her.
I don't know. I feel like she'd attack me. I cannot be locked.
Can you imagine being locked in a tiny room like this big with nothing but puzzles in this? The only way you can get out with her.
And she would kill me.
And you have nowhere to run.
Yeah, she would kill me.
So she'd be all about it.
She'd be like, why aren't you helping? I'm like, I am. I found this key.
I'm staying out of the way.
I'm trying to open the door to get out of here.
I can't believe we forgot to mention the skills development camp, though. What's wrong with this?
That's
next weekend.
Yeah.
The 9th and 10th. 8U all the way to 18U. You can register now online at haverouicehawks.com, or you can register at the event.
Oh, does that mean we won't have our adult 1 o'clock?
I don't think so. Is the 10th a Sunday? I'm guessing it is because there's no way they're going to do it on a Friday.
But what are the times?
It says it's a 2-day camp. It doesn't say.
Because it won't run all day. They usually have time.
No, but I'm pretty sure we will.
We'll figure it out.
Right. We're definitely going to play games at night. There's no way they're going to camp until 6:30. So those kids will be skating, puking. No, you're not going to skate an hour. They had a great turnout last year. So if you have a kid in hockey, you don't even have to be involved in hockey to do the camp. I believe you can just be like, I want to give it a try, but I would.
Yeah.
It's open to anybody. But
if you're going to give it a try, I'd recommend our Sundays if you're an adult. And we usually do a try hockey for free day. Which
Sundays with you and I are try hockey for free every Sunday. So
that's right. I gave out some equipment on Friday.
I love seeing new people. I mean, new faces are just awesome. Right?
Yeah. I just like to, like I told the guy that, because I went golfing with him to try to meet
Dude,
him.
if you got a bud that's just sitting at his couch, just whining and being lazy and watching football on Sundays, drag him up to the hockey rink.
Well, I told the kid there that got the gear and stuff. I was like, we like to get to know the person so that I know how they scream when they get hit. He was like, it's like, oh, okay.
Wow. That means I have to start putting brag spines together. Woo.
Yeah, you put them through, and then I'll read them to make sure you understand what they do.
I still don't understand what they do half the time.
That's why I read through
Why
them.
don't I just borrow your book?
My book is my book of secrets. So
Available for free to anyone who wants it.
No. So like this book that I've got is like a binder, and what it was all the stuff that I did throughout my years of coaching and all the plays that kind of worked, all the practice stuff that worked. And yes, it's like AMD stuff, but then I scrapped a lot and scratched up things that made no sense for what I was trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when they were like, "Yeah, you're not going to be."
So, Sammy, if you're listening, if you could find that binder for me, that'd be great.
It's in my garage somewhere. Good luck. But when they told me that I wasn't coaching anymore, when I walked, like because I got the call, I went up to the rink and got it out of my little desk. So I was like, get my secret.
My coaching secrets. All right, so enough about hockey, although we could talk a little bit more about it. But
yeah, because it's just starting.
I know.
Toronto's been doing good in the preseason.
Oh, gosh, not preseason.
How's your team been doing?
You know, they're doing what they do.
Seattle has been winning.
Well, they got to let them win the preseason games.
Well, I thought it was funny. They got destroyed by Edmonton. And then they played Edmonton again, but they always switch their rosters around.
Right. And
the time that they beat Edmonton was when Connor McDavid wasn't on the lineup.
Right. So switching from, I found this morning. This weirded me out because I've got two kids, right? You've got a daughter, and I'd imagine everybody here who's got kids have done this. I guarantee it's been done to you. A new mom bans her husband from bathing their infant son because she washed him in the sink.
What?
She left. Apparently she did a whole thing on Reddit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And apparently she gives her husband certain things to do with the kid, and that's all he's allowed to do. Okay. And he's like, well, the kid needs a bath, so I'm going to give him a bath. So he puts him in the sink. I did this with my kid. Why? Because it's way easier to control that slippery, slimy, wiggling worm of a child in a tiny sink.
I'm pretty sure I was bathed in a sink. There's pictures of me being bathed in one of those cast iron tubs.
During the summer, you know how I was bathed? I was thrown in a lake.
Yeah.
And they're like, swim to shore. And I'm like,
we're like one less mountain. They don't make it.
Right? But she lost her mind when she saw him bathing her husband or bathing her kid
I
in
would
the
lose
sink.
my mind if
I fit in the sink, I'd be like, holy cow!
I don't know what I would do if I came into your house and you're like, yeah, come on in, and Amanda was bathing you in the sink. That would be.
But the reason she had a huge meltdown with this is because apparently there's glasses and sharp tools nearby the sink. Now, this kid is 8 months old. Mm-hmm. My kid at 8 months couldn't pick their own nose, let alone grab a knife.
Well, I mean,
you're right there holding them.
Yeah, like what?
And this is the other thing she said. It was gross. It's a sink.
So does she wash her dishes in the sink, or is that gross?
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. And she got shredded on Reddit. Every person's like, everybody has been bathed in a sink at some point in their life. In fact, they make those little kid bathing tubs that fit in your sink, so you don't have to put them in the tub.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember I don't think we ever bathed Persephone in a sink. But I mean, I would not be against it.
You'd walk by whatever.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know.
Better hope she doesn't poop in there. Because that's gross.
You need a garbage disposal when you got one of those.
But yeah, I showed that to my wife this morning. She's like, what? Why would you not bathe because it's just so much easier.
You know what just baffles me, though? Think back to when we were, say, 17. Man. If something,
you make that sound like it was a long time ago, and then I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, my God, that was a really long time ago.
Yeah.
I wasn't 7. Oh, God, I was 17 a really long time ago.
But I mean, well, it's just because mentally we still are close to there.
Mental age? I never hit 17.
Yeah, that's true.
I never broke puberty.
But we've got No, I can't even think about what I was thinking about.
Did you just say what I think you said?
No, I said,
You heard it right here, folks, live on the radio. This is our last show.
It didn't fully come out.
Do you remember what you're talking about?
No.
Okay, it'll come to you soon. Well, that's not hard.
No, it's not. I'm still.
Did I distract you with the dots?
No, I'm just still so tired because I didn't get much sleep last night either. Oh.
Do you want my wife to send you a violin?
Even when I looked at that, I was like, that would be nice. I like the sound of a violin.
So, yeah. Bathing in the...
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, we're like 17. If we wanted to get mad at something because we saw something happen, we couldn't go online and write anything and anyone would care.
No one would care anyway.
Right? Like, because I know MySpace might have been around there, I think. And if we posted on that, nobody cared. But, like, how does some... And I mean this the best way I can, but how does some nobody make a post on, like, Reddit and then everybody's like, what? What? Like, I guarantee if I went on Reddit right now and we made a rant about eating dots, it would be 3 or 4 years before more than one person looks at that. I just don't know how people get randomly found on this kind of stuff these days.
Well, with the advent of, like, TikTok and all that crap, I mean, it's not hard to get.
But I mean, even with that TikTok stuff, it's like, what, 10 seconds, boom, 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 boom.
You're surprised people, like, it draws you in, man. Some of the weird stuff people put on, and then some are like,
the only TikTok I watch is when you guys send it to me.
Mine are hockey ones. I send you those really fun hockey ones.
See, I send you news ones that I find. I felt like I saw that hit.
Dude, that was, well, according to your phone, that was taken last year. But did that happen this weekend?
Yeah, it was. That one happened.
Because
that's a player that I have that got suspended. That's how he got suspended.
That shouldn't happen at all. Like, that was stupid. Yeah, but.
And did you like my the goalie one there?
Yeah, the post. I love my posts.
Yeah.
So there we go. Ooh, ready for some Bible stuff?
Am I?
Yeah. Well, this is actually, here's history type stuff. Archaeologist claims that they found Mount Sinai, the famous mountain that Moses went up and got the 10 Commandment tablet from.
Okay, how would they know that?
Well, because in the Bible, which was written an obscenely amount of time after.
And it's extremely historical.
Pretty accurate, right? It's in the New York Post. But anyway, they found it by following a series of clues that were left in the Bible. Where they had traditionally looked for it, none of the features matched up. And then I was like thinking about this for a minute. I'm like, well, how great were they at map making back in the day? Because they didn't exactly have like drones to go up in the air to take a look down and see what they're. So you're constantly looking at everything from a ground view.
Yeah.
So they went, well, it's supposed to be this peninsula, but then you go up in the air, like, well, wait a minute, there's a peninsula over here, and the mountains that are supposed to be, according to the biblical account, the peaks are blackened as if scorched by sun or fire, and lies near some weird beach where scientists have found land paths underwater where God could have parted the ways for Moses and the Israelites.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because he got that, came down, and then parted water, right?
Because he was running away from the Egyptians.
Yes. Because they were walking like Egyptians.
They have scientifically explained how the waters could have parted. It was the rising and falling of tide. So if you knew when the tide was, because I mean, if you lived anywhere where tide happened, like you live in Vancouver.
we live in Vancouver. It would be like 5 minutes.
But you could watch the tide literally rise 15, 20 feet in 5 minutes. Like,
Well,
it's
so
insane.
when we were there, I remember we went. Well, I can't remember if Sammy was there. but I know, but I saw it and the water was like really high,
Mm-hmm.
and then you just watched it and it was gone, and then you'd see all the crabs that get stuck because they couldn't get past the rocks quick enough, and they're trying to find a way back to it.
But they believe that this area far better describes the site of where Mount Sinai. I mean, it's a mountain. Like,
Yeah.
It probably it had to exist at some point. But I'm pretty sure some of the facts got, like I said, it was a few hundred years later. I mean, so you're off.
Well, because wasn't like it's not, and I think a big misconception. I could be wrong, because I'm not a
biblical scholar.
Yeah, but the Bible was written way later after all these stories happened.
300 years.
Yeah, so I mean, there had to have been at least, and if you think about how old,
no. That's technically 300 years after Jesus died is the New Testament. Old Testament, I don't know where that stuff came from. I don't know who put that down first, because that's Moses and all that stuff. That predates Jesus by hundreds of years.
Well, let's just estimate like 300 years after.
Long time.
Something, right? And if we do it the 300, think of the times. Average lifespan, what, 30? If you're lucky.
Well, Moses was supposedly like 1,000 years old or something like that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying for non
non-gods
superheroes.
Yeah.
There's like 30 years old, because it was regular people that wrote this.
Mm-hmm.
And so these stories would have been passed on and passed on and passed on. And as much as people want to believe that a higher power spoke to an individual, each individual that wrote each passage, it's more than likely that it would have been a story passed down to those people that then they added.
But it is proven that even the greatest myths have foundation in fact.
Oh yeah,
somewhere.
like I mean, we went.
They've come from somewhere.
We talked about the whale that people showed up on. When we talked about the Vikings. It was a boat, but because nobody knew it was a boat, they called it a whale. They knew what a whale was, or giant fish. So yeah, I believe like a lot of the Bible stuff. I believe it has some truth into it somewhere, but just like with every other story, you have to make it bigger
and better than the next guy.
Well, I mean, like think about it. I go down in a hockey game and I score a goal, and you guys don't see it. When I come back and tell you, I deked around two guys to get that goal. It wasn't an open net at all. There was
I don't have to brag, because whenever I say I got a goal, people are like, "What? Seriously?" Yeah, I know. What'd you do? I was just standing there and Barry dished it, and I just kind of punked it in.
but then somebody hears your story of it, and they're like, "Yeah, Derek like took a slap shot, put it top shelf."
Oh, dude, I saw a gift today. I almost sent it to you. I'm like, this is my slap shot. It's a guy. He's trying to warm up a goal. He takes a full on slap shot. He misses the goal by 8 feet to like the left. I'm like, that's me.
I think I'm usually pretty good at warming up.
I was shooting, not that was what it looks like if I would.
Well, yeah, but it made me think. I was like, do I warm you up pretty good, or am I mean? Sometimes I'm mean.
We got to work on how to work like this. That's something I'm going to concentrate on this year's.
Is etiquette?
Yes. You don't fire at your goalie attempting. And that's the worst thing you can do. You're like, oh, we just put in 15 goals before the game started on our own goalie.
Yeah, I know how to boost your confidence, Derek. It's not let you save one practice shot.
Right. Yeah, that's really going to get
this
you going.
game's going to go so good when you don't make one save.
I made more saves in warm up than I took in that final championship game in Great Falls, though.
We were winning that champ.
It was just happening.
Yeah.
So. No, but yeah. So, movie stuff. I like movies. I'm going to watch Venom tomorrow.
Yeah, I know, and I'm not allowed to go.
No, you're not.
Yeah, but I don't have to go with you guys.
You don't need to go. You can go at the 9 o'clock show when your kid's asleep. Or when your kid's in bed, not asleep.
Or, hear me out.
No.
I just go watch it when I feel like it because I'm an adult.
I say no.
Well,
I'll tell you.
Dad.
I'll tell your wife.
Yeah, she knows. She thought it'd be funny.
But this isn't about that. I'm a big fan of the Netflix Marvel combination. They did the Daredevil and they did all that stuff, right?
Punisher and stuff.
Well, speaking of the Punisher, they're bringing him back, and they're bringing back Barenthal, the guy who played the Punisher, to do it again in a rebooted Punisher series.
Good, because that was one of the better ones.
Well, and this is where I remember I read the whole story about it, and they're like, "This is going to be the bloodiest thing in the Netflix series, in the Netflix Marvel thing." I'm like, "Did you guys watch the original? Like, it already had to be."
It's going to be even bigger. It's going to be Bruce Campbell style.
I mean, do you remember? I don't know if you remember, but in one of the episodes, I can't remember what one was, but they actually capture him, and they take a power drill to his feet.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I'm like sitting there going, "Oh my god!" Like, there's only one scene in a movie that makes me cringe more than that. You ever watch the movie Payback with Mel Gibson?
Yeah, I was just
where they
thinking that.
smash his toes with a hammer.
This little piggy went.
Yeah, and ball peen hammer just boom, and you're like, "Oh."
Yeah. The only movie where you root for the bad guy is.
Oh yeah,
I
like
love that
that's such a fun movie, right?
Yeah. And the best part about that movie is the whole time he's like, "I just want my money." They're like, "So you want?"
But they're like trying to give him like $160,000. He only wants us $87,000.
Yeah, because he's like, "That's all I want."
Right? And he's constantly reminding them, you know.
But my favorite part when he gets that rich guy, and he has to hold the suitcases up.
Yeah.
And then he shoots it. He's like, "Are you serious?"
Those are my suits, man. Oh man, James Coburn, what a fun actor.
I recommend people watch that if they haven't seen that.
It's a fun movie. Yeah. I watched Hobbs and Shaw the other night.
I don't think I've seen that one.
It's a spin-off from the Fast 9 series. It's a buddy cop movie. Like, they hate each other throughout the whole movie, and
Those are usually pretty good.
I mean, like I said, I'm an action movie junkie. I'm like one of the weird people on this planet that people are like, "Hey, you want to watch comedy?" I'm like, "No, not really."
Yeah, we know that you don't like comedy.
I like some comedy, but for the most part,
No, you really don't.
if it's got Jim Carrey in it, I'll watch it.
Okay, but that's like preem comedy.
Will Ferrell, bottom of the barrel, like sludge.
No, I feel like if they're not Jim Carrey caliber, you don't know how to judge them.
Well, I like Robin Williams caliber too.
Yeah, but just the way you're saying it, you're like, he was all right.
No, Robin Williams was more than all right. Even Jim Carrey would be like, "Yeah, Robin Williams was one of my idols."
Yeah. The only thing was that I think he took a lot of cocaine before his shows.
Yeah. Like, I mean, did you ever watch the old Mork and Mindy series?
Yes.
God, we're dating ourselves, and that show was old when we were little.
Yeah. Well, I never watched it as a kid, but I watched it
when he got older.
When I got older, yeah.
Because he was from what planet was he from? Oh, it was just. Can you imagine the weird shows that we watched? Alf, you remember Alf?
Oh yeah,
the alien hates cats.
Hates cats. No, everyone's okay with it.
Yeah, they're cool. Whatever. We're just mutilating.
There was the white cat, I think it was, that he kept petting in all the shows because it was the.
He would hint at like he would eat it, but the family were like, "No, you can't eat the cat."
Yeah.
Yeah, you can watch all those now.
That was like dinosaurs. Did you ever go back and watch that again?
I didn't. Yeah, well, yeah. I started watching with my kids, my daughter.
Right, and I watched it again. And I'm like, this is a lot different than I.
It's dudes in suits, right? It's the Jim Henson.
But I mean, even the
thing.
Stories in it, I was like, they're deeper than I remember them being.
Well, because you just like they're dinosaurs on TV, Mom.
They're like, this is funny. Hit the baby.
Yeah. Not the mama. Whack with a frying pan. Yeah, good times. But yeah, so that was kind of fun. But I'm looking forward to it. I will definitely, borrow some Netflix from somebody.
we know a guy.
We know a guy to watch that, because I mean that's a series I can watch over.
I think you still have access to the Netflix I use, and it's not even mine. We just went and watched a show over there. I mean,
just logged in. So, yep. It's only 3:30, man. I'm gonna run. We got to rant a little longer about something else. I got 3 things left, but I don't think they're gonna take forever.
We always find something.
What do you? Well, Brewfest. What's that about?
Oh,
there's a beer thing. It's from page A1. Where's A1 at?
Dude, page A1. Page 2.
So 1's gonna be right in front of it. A1 would be the cover.
You
do realize it's right here, right?
I don't know.
Right there. See the big Brewfest and big bold letters?
Yeah.
Brewfest.
Derek, okay, everybody, just so everybody knows, Derek used to work for the newspaper. That's how he knew this.
Brewfest.
Oh, it's going to be the Chinook Sugar Beet Festival.
Oh, yeah. When's that?
I'm getting there.
You got to read.
Yeah.
It's difficult. I see
There's a lot
your
of
ears are smoking. And the Brewfest was yesterday.
Was it?
See, that paper's like 6 years old. It's from Thursday.
Oh, yeah, it's from Thursday. Oh, that sucks. Whatever.
But they hold Brewfests here in town, too, don't they?
Sometimes, yeah.
We have a bunch of breweries.
So I had this conversation with Sammy today, and I told her, I said, the only thing that I am worried about living here is becoming Montana. I don't want to become like a Montanan.
What would make you become a Montanan? What would justify that you've become a Montanan and are no longer Canadian?
This is not everyone, but I would say at least 90 to 95% of the people we know can only have fun drinking.
Oh, that's a Havre thing, yeah, definitely.
Right? But it's not just Havre. I go to like
we have
things.
How many bars do you think are in this county alone?
Oh, 300.
36.
Right.
So and here's the best part. So but that's a big county. But so if you're just out getting a free drink at every bar because you get a free drink on your birthday, can you handle 32 shots?
No.
So you're looking at a really good birthday, and it's going to cost you nothing. You just need somebody to drive you around the county and get you all the free beers.
At my bachelor party, I had 21 shots, and I thought I was going to die.
I don't remember how many shots I did at my 21st. And
well,
my wife could probably tell you.
I'm not go to a strip club guy for a bachelor party. What I did was I went back to my hometown, got a hold of all my buddies that still lived there. We went to the bar that we used to go to when we were younger.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so funny when I walked in, the owner's name was Ruby, and she's sitting there, and this is like 5-6 years after we left the town. I walk in, and she's like, Barry, welcome back. So I was like, I liked that kind of thing.
made an impression.
Yeah, I liked it when that happened. And I remember I was there, and the bar was filled with just only the people I knew from that town. And this one random guy walks in and was like, oh, looks like there's a party. And my dad's like, yeah, it's my son's bachelor party. So the guy grabs me a shot of whiskey.
Ugh.
And I hate whiskey. And he gave it to me, and he was like, well, this may taste bad, but it's not as bad as the rest of your life.
So I got a question for you. Have you ever grabbed a glass, took a drink of it, thinking it was going to be something, and it was something completely different?
Yes.
Did this the other day. My wife went to Rod's and got a Rod's Pop, right?
Okay.
She got whatever she gets, which is usually a Mountain Dew with a bunch of sugary crap in it. And then I got a raspberry tea. Well, I set my tea down, on the counter, not thinking anything of it. And a little while later, I come back to grab a drink, and I noticed 2 drinks in there. I'm like, no, this is mine. I remember where I put mine. Grabbed it and took a big old swig. Well, apparently, Amanda had gotten through her Mountain Dew rather quickly and wanted to move on to something a little more adultish. It was pretty much just 100% whiskey. And then she looks at, I go and I take a drink and I go, oh. And she's like, wow, you grabbed the wrong cup. And I drank it, burned a bit.
Yeah, especially when you're not expecting.
Right.
Usually when you shoot something, you don't want it to linger.
I'm expecting raspberry iced tea, get a shot of whiskey. Ooh.
Well, let's be honest. You got a Mountain Dew.
Right.
You're drinking a Mountain Dew, and then you accidentally grab a Pepsi. Even though they're both good, when you drink the Pepsi, you're going to go and almost spit it out because it's not what you're expecting.
What's your worst experience ever having that happen? I'm sure it's happened to you more than once.
Well, this was because my friends were mean. Can I use that one?
You didn't know, right?
Well, yeah, I didn't know. So what they had done was when I went to the bathroom, they had put a whole bunch of garbage in my water. Mm-hmm. And that was the grossest water I'd ever tasted.
My worst is I drink, me, I drink a lot of Gatorade. Well, my buddy was a chewer, and he would constantly spit in the cups. He spit in my Gatorade, like I had left a little bit in it, and I grabbed it and took a big old, I took it and I opened his truck door and I threw it in his truck. And I told him to leave. I was so mad. Like every time I think about it, it just makes me a little nauseous.
As soon as you said he was a shoer and I had a Gatorade bottle, I just vomited a little
Like
bit.
every time I see those guys, I'm like, that's disgusting. Like it's a gross habit.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, so when I was 19, I was in play, and we had like a 5-month rehearsal process for it, and everyone in the play smoked.
Ugh.
So in the end, I ended up starting to smoke, and it was dumb. But then I did it for about a year, and then I quit. And I don't understand why you need to do it.
Well, I think it starts out, and this is from yours and my generation, right? It starts out as the cool kids do it, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Right?
I used to make fun of those kids.
Right. Why are you doing that? Like, right? I never smoked, ever. But I'm pretty sure, I'm willing to bet a good 90% of people start smoking due to peer pressure because their friends did it or
parents.
Or your parents did it, and you're like, what's so good about it? That's the one reason I didn't do it. My parents are chimneys.
Yeah, my dad, he's a chimney.
Right? Like my dad was a solid pack of Camels a day.
Oh, Camels. I haven't heard that in a while.
Right. Like it just terrible. Like, and I like even the sight of an ashtray makes me nauseous.
Well, the thing that I don't know, I wish that people could do it more casual. Like just like if they want to smoke, they don't need it as much as they actually do. But for most part, people are like what 1 or 2 a day or more.
And then you get the issue where we modify stuff to make things more addictive, so you buy more. So the tobacco companies add more nicotine to make it more addictive. And then the vaping thing came out, and people are like, "Well, it's so much better." I'm like, "No, I'm bigger than in your spit water, man. It's not better." And then they find out how terrible, and the oils in it just coat your lungs and make it impossible for you to breathe.
Popcorn lung has shown up because of that,
right? Like anything that has an adverse effect on the human body is technically a poison. So Mountain Dew, it's got caffeine in it. The energy drink here, which is gonna put me through the roof, is technically a poison. Anything but water, essentially.
Yeah. I'm becoming immune to it, though. Slowly but surely.
Right. I must drink more. What if I go intravenously?
Oh, man, that'd be horrible.
Right.
That'd be like, have you ever butt chugged?
No. Why would anyone want to?
Because you absorb the alcohol. Like
but that involves putting things in places you don't need. No.
Yeah, I'm not saying I did it. I just wanted to see if on the radio you'd be like, yeah, man.
Not only did I never do it,
now we've got some kids that their parents might be listening to our show because we have such a huge fan base.
This is why people eat Tide Pods, because they hear stupid crap like that on the radio. Like, I don't get it. Like, you hear these...
was it John Cena? Is that right? Yeah, he did it in a movie.
They portrayed him doing it in a movie.
He still did it, and he made the facial expressions like he'd been there.
Just imagine having something shoved and you're like, no. Like, no. But like, I don't understand what would drive anybody. Like, you will do just about anything on a bet, right? I know you that well. That won't cause you physical harm or anything like that. Like, because I got you to eat a piece of, you were going to do it anyway, but you got me to do it anyway. But I got you to eat a big giant piece of solid sugar fondant. Only because I said I'd do it.
I'm a little older now, so I have a little bit higher standards.
But back when you were young, what was $5? You'd do just about anything.
Oh man, anything. Like pretty much.
But if somebody told you to drink laundry detergent,
no, I wouldn't have done. I would really.
You look at me like, that's stupid. Why would I do? You see the skull and crossbones on the bottle?
Well, and if they're like, here, chew on this pod. I was like, the cleaner pod. Like, yeah, but why? Like, and I'm gonna admit I'm an idiot.
Right? I watched a dude eat a stick of butter in high school for $5, and it was the worst $5 you'd ever earned.
Like, I was the kind of guy on the bus that if there was a moth, that people are like, oh my god, look, it's a moth. I'd grab it and eat it just to make people.
First of all, the human species survived for thousands of years that way.
Well, in case people want to know, and this is a fact, one black cricket, those gross big black crickets, have enough protein in them for a human to survive one day. Just on one of them.
Just a snack.
Yeah.
You're gonna be hungrier than crap. But
if you ate one of those and you drank
it's
water,
your protein intake for the day anyway.
Yeah. So
you still need the rest of it.
Survival 101. You don't need to kill a rabbit, get a deer, you eat a porcupine. I don't know.
Pound for pound, bugs are the way they roll.
And just eat it.
But we're kind of getting away from it. But here in the United States, we're weird that way. We're one of the few countries that don't have insects in our in a major part of our diet.
Yeah.
Like you go to like Asia, man, they are eating everything.
Well, I mean, what people don't realize is in your rice, there's actually small maggots that they freeze dry. I just want people to be like, no.
Then they'll eat rice again.
And then they're looking at rice.
Don't
like,
ask him what's in the brown rice. That's not true at all.
But have you ever done that where you're eating rice and there's that one that gets a little bit brown and it almost looks hollow and you're like, is this a maggot?
No, it really wasn't.
No.
But I'm not afraid to try new things, but certain things, like I don't do octopus because if it's still wiggling, not going to happen.
You know, there's just certain things that, you know, people are like, oh, you got to try it once. I thought that. I tried an oyster. I'm never thinking you have to
It's like eating a booger, isn't it?
It's like eating a gross booger tongue.
Right? Like, but.
And they're like, you just slurp it.
I've seen these, I can't remember where it was. It's in Asia somewhere, Thailand somewhere, over in Eastern Asia. They take crickets and they basically smoke them. And then they put the like curry powder and chili powder and stuff. And
they
they
like
eat
chips.
Yeah, they're like snacks.
Yeah.
And from what I heard, they taste really good. I'm like, if I closed my eyes and just got rid of the fact that I'm eating something with antennae and mandibles, I mean, I don't think I would notice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guarantee if you closed your eyes and you ate, you're like, man, you opened your eyes and it was a buggy, but that was good.
Right? The closest thing that we have around here is like the Rocky Mountain oyster. Like a lot of people really like them until they find out what they are. They're like, oh, I'll never eat that again. It's like, well, but you just ate it.
It's something different, isn't it? It's a bowl thing.
Bowl testicle.
Yeah.
No. Would you eat one of them for $10?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Deep fried with some ketchup?
No. I'd rather just eat a steak.
Yeah, steaks are good.
I don't know. I'm just, and I mean, I've kind of had this conversation with my wife the past couple of days where I'm getting to that age where I just don't need to prove anything.
No. But I where I'm getting at is like if I were to travel over to
another
Europe and stuff, I'd be up for trying some of the weird food. Like we think it's weird, but honestly, we're the weird one out of in the world.
If I went to another country, I'd be willing to try something that is kind of like a staple for them that I've never had before. But I mean, you go over there and
they have their gross weird things.
They have weird stuff that even if you talk to the locals,
yeah, they don't like. We don't
like it's good, but it's weird. You know, I don't want to eat something like that. But if I went over to like, I don't know, I don't really know cuisine.
Can you? Well,
I eat cricket.
We did those noodle bowls, right? Would you eat like a noodle bowl fresh, like out of some dude's boat in Vietnam? I mean, like they literally boil the water in their boat and.
Yeah, see, but that's the other thing too is I would be skeptical with some things. I'd like to try it, but I also know those countries are very prone to sick and illness. So I still want to make sure that
get your vaccines and go.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know we got some people listening going, yeah, those vaccines don't do nothing.
Well, they'll help.
They don't prevent it. They lighten the load.
Malaria is half as bad.
Yeah. Man, can you imagine
every person who's ever been in the military knows that they get a cocktail of like 6 shots when they go in because they're like, where are you going? Oh no, we just got you for everything just in case. Yeah. We might feel a little woozy for the next 3 days.
We even threw in some microchips for you just to make sure we know where we're at.
But that's yeah. But I
kind of speaking of microchips, though, there was one thing I was thinking about the other day. When I do like 5-hour drives without having anyone to talk to,
that's got to be hard. What do you do? Like you
I
talk
rock
to
out.
everything.
I rock out a lot, but then I actually start talking out loud to myself.
I run D&D campaigns in my brain.
Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy.
But one of the things I was thinking about was I was like, why do people think that there's microchips in us? Because first off, the batteries wouldn't be that big. And microchips, no matter what,
They
have to.
run off the electrical impulse in your body.
Yeah, but that's not actually something like I can't.
No, it's not possible or true. But because I said it, someone's gonna be like, "Yeah."
The only thing our body can do is conduct electricity. We can't generate it without we can generate it at a metabolic rate for proteins, but we can't. I can't charge a light bulb up by running in place.
If you put a special suit on, you can.
Yeah, a special suit that makes electricity,
Right.
but I can't
No,
make it
you're
with my
moving.
body.
Just saying. You block all that out. It's 100% true.
Yeah.
You mean all the stuff that's factual? Yeah, sorry.
But it was just one of those things where I was like, yeah, there could be microchips floating around us, and the only time that they get charged is when you pick up your cell phone. We drain the electricity from the cell phone through the body.
Plausible,
I don't know. I was just trying to make more conspiracy theories.
right?
But I mean, as soon as you pick up the cell phone.
All I know is that the guy tracking me is like, this guy never leaves his house.
Well, the guy's tracking me. He's like, what's he going to Bozeman for? Why was he only there for a couple hours and coming back?
But it would be like 3 lines, like one from my house to work, my house to your house, and that's it. Like,
And then now to hockey.
right? Oh, and to the Boys and Girls Club because I go pick my daughter up every day. So like, this guy doesn't go anywhere.
You could put a quarter on a map and you'd be in that circle your whole life.
No, yeah. I'm never more than a quarter mile from my house at any given moment. Why? Because I like my house.
I don't know if we end
It's
up
got food. It's got TV.
if we end up moving, you might be a little over that
No,
quarter.
you're just gonna have to come over to my house.
We're gonna have like a big living room area.
Yeah, but it takes 6 weeks to walk there.
What, you're gonna walk there?
No, your hallway.
Oh yeah. That's only from the bedroom.
That's
What are
like
you gonna be walking from a bedroom for?
that's like walking down an extra dimensional space, man. Where are we going? I have no idea. Oh, whoa, where did we go?
Yeah.
I just got time travel. Speaking of time travel, watched Back to the Future the other day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you understand his theories and how
No.
it makes sense?
No, but did you know that every piece of high-tech electrical equipment he uses to keep track of his time traveling crap is now all located in our phone?
Yep.
Have you seen
Except for the uranium.
that? Maybe.
But I know it changes eventually, but it's originally powered by uranium.
He goes to Mr. Fusion, which creates fusion from beer.
Oh yeah, or just
The can.
compost.
Yeah.
Compost.
But I was like, because he's got the, I'm like, man, I remember using that stuff. He's got the handheld camcorder that holds a whole tape.
Yeah.
If you're under the age of 30, this isn't going to make any sense. It holds a video cassette tape, which is like
VHS.
which is like 7 inches long, 4 inches
And it
tall,
only has enough time for like
2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a whole, and like 1.5 inches thick. They were ridiculous, right?
But I'm telling you,
Go watch Castaway. You'll see the film from the inside.
because I mean, those suckers hurt when they get chucked at you.
Right.
Like a CD might hit you.
Do you remember that awful sound when you had your favorite movie recorded on it, and all of a sudden you hear your VCR going?
Oh,
like,
yeah. And then you
no!
pull it out and the tape would be all crinkled.
You're like, oh, but it'll still work if I wind it back up, and it'll just look weird for a minute.
Yeah, like the wrinkly part, and then when it gets past it, it's good.
Yeah. You guys that will never know the struggles that we went through.
Yeah, now they get mad when it's like, okay, it's buffering. What is this?
Do you want to talk buffering? You know how long it took to download a single song in 2000?
A long time. Well, I mean, we had, what was it, 2.15K download speed at one point. So like that's kilobytes.
256, baby.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So I know my buddy of mine was a huge, because WoW has been around since the internet basically started. That was one of the major things that was pretty cool. And he would be like, he'd go out and buy WoW or EverQuest. And he would download the expansions. And he's like, I started to download last night at 10 o'clock. It should be done tonight at 11:30.
Oh yeah, I remember like
Like Jesus.
You'd wake up, you'd start downloading
Music?
Music. Thank you. And then you go to school, and you come back and be like, almost done.
I remember one day I came into school and a guy handed me a bunch of 30 CDs. Like, you know how fast my computer is? You know, it took me 2 hours to burn these CDs. I'm like, 2 hours? That's crazy. Now you're like, that take me like 30 seconds. And why are you putting them on a disc?
Yeah. I'll just throw them on your MP3 player.
Or why don't you just turn on
Well, heck, like my wife and I, and
just turn on Spotify,
you
man.
and I could probably do it. You can do link share now.
Yeah.
Where you literally just our phones near each other, and I can share something just by flicking it to you.
I hope it doesn't share the naughty stuff.
I don't have any naughty stuff.
That's sad.
I mean, I've tried talking to her, but she's one of those.
You're awful at it. I don't know what these mean. So, but yeah, that started with talking about the Punisher. I don't know how we got.
Well, because I mean, everyone knows that they've been listening to Average Rants here at KNMC
90.1
FM.
Yeah.
And we
go.
Yeah, we kind of just go wherever.
Can you imagine if this was scripted? It wouldn't be nearly as good.
It would suck. I think we've gotten better because when we first started, our wives said that we had a lot of dead air.
Yeah.
Because we would think, and now we just don't think.
Well,
and that makes it better.
But I think before, when we had just had the dead air, we were actually trying to think about things to talk. And now we're just like, I don't even remember on the radio half the time.
Yeah.
Because we're just kind of babbling. Which can come back to haunt me, as it almost got you a little while ago, Mr. No, I didn't.
Caught it.
Right. You're like, oh, we are on the radio. But
human.
You're human. More human than human.
What's the date today? The 3rd. Okay.
So.
But yeah, I mean, there's some stuff going on. There's events and stuff.
Yep. Next weekend, you got the Haver Youth Hockey Camp, 9th and 10th. You can go sign up online at haveryouthhockey.com, or I believe it's havericehawks.com. Or you can just go there and register when you get there. That's for 8 to 18. Although I'm not sure, you know this better than me. 18U. Some kids are 19 while they're still in high school. Do they still qualify for 18U?
So high school, and we actually went through this. High school is defined by as long as you're registered to go to high school, and you're not coming back as like
the 21-year-old senior.
Yeah, so, like an example is if a kid went to high school and at grade 11 dropped out, and then decided a year later to come back, they're not eligible to play anymore. You can't just stop.
They got too old. I think football works the same way. I remember that. It's like, because I was like 19. I was almost 19 when I graduated. I'm like, so could I still play? I never missed any high school. I was just older than the rest of my class. And they're like, yeah, because you were technically still in high school. But
did you imagine, though, like what some high schools would do? Like, because people are so stupid competitive that if you could go back to high school, and if the verbiage said nothing about age, but just said you have to be registered in high school and be going as a student, you could have like a 27-year-old joining the high school team.
Right. I dominate.
But I believe the age cap is 19.
Yep.
Because you can have some kids that are in that. But the dumb thing is, and this is what I didn't agree with what happened at our meeting actually, was if you graduate early, you're no longer eligible to play.
Well, that would be terrible.
Right? So, and we almost had this. So if on January 1st, you graduated...
Well, that works out really terrible. I'm just going to cut you off for a second. That works especially terrible for sports that cut years in half, like winter sports, because they take place in 2 years. Like
but I just...
like this hockey season, it's going to be the 2021-2022 hockey season.
I felt, and I mean, I voiced this. I felt that if you're still within the age requirement, we shouldn't be punishing kids for wanting to get a head start on college.
Right.
And that kind of upset me a little bit when they're like, well, you have to set a fine line. I was like, yeah, the fine line is the age.
19 years.
And that we also show that they've done all of their high school, and they should get to finish with their graduating class.
Right.
Like it was kind of disheartening. I understand because people will find loopholes and they try to prevent that.
But that's 6 months.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, I mean, but you could finish a year early, right?
Right.
But I still don't feel like you should punish a kid for doing well
in school. Yeah. Well, and especially just to here in our town, the hockey isn't associated with school at all.
Yeah.
Like it's its own entity.
They still have to use the high school as their means.
Right. Which is a real bummer if you play hockey in this town. You really have to make a decision. Like, do you want to play hockey or do you want to do these other winter sports? Because it's really hard to do all. I mean, you ain't going to have much of a home life, and you're probably going to have hating some of it.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to be a struggle.
I just think we should celebrate kids wanting to do any sport. I mean, as a coach,
right?
When I coached the kids, I wanted them to play other sports. I don't care what the sport is. I want them to enjoy everything that they possibly can. That's what I did. I played every sport that I possibly
get out there and do it. Well, you still have the choice.
Yeah. Let's be honest. Can you go play football for fun right now?
No, because no one will pick me.
Right?
Same with softball.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Right? Got to bring it up.
Yeah.
Y'all, next year, someone pick me.
You know what we need to do? We're going to make custom jerseys. I know we've got like the Honey Badger stuff with the adults, but let's make ones just for you and I.
That says I'm with stupid and has arrows?
No, I want it to be pick us for softball or something. Something where it's like, or Major League. We'll get the Major League symbol. And
I can have Vaughn on the back because that works, right?
Yeah. And then
99.
You can be like 99 Vaughn, and then in small letters at the bottom, it'll be your number.
Not Rick.
And contact information to sign up for a team.
We're gonna do the tryout video. We're gonna send it.
We got that. Would be really fun. I mean, I've got a really good camera. So.
Oh yeah, I bet your wives would be all about it too.
Oh, they'd help us.
Oh yeah. Slugger. They call me Slugger. I strike out. Oh. Anyway, St. Jude's Pumpkin Patch, October 22nd, 23rd. That goes to a good cause, too. Go out and pick out a couple pumpkins. Do some, they have a bake sale there. I know we did it a couple of years.
Oh, the wagon ride.
They have a wagon ride or the train ride. Yeah.
Because I jump on that almost every year.
I don't know if they're going to do the trunk or treat this year, but that'd be kind of cool.
Well, they did the trunk or treat last year.
Have you ever been through, like, we didn't talk about it earlier, because we got off the rails, but did you have you seen those? Because of COVID, they were doing the drive-through haunted house things.
No.
Where they created, like, instead of a haunted house, they just took a great big parking lot, right? And they put up like, and you drove your car.
I feel like that'd be a bad idea because it'd be like, ah,
right?
We're making real zombies.
But they did it, and I guess it was really successful. Like,
yeah,
it was pretty.
Did they do it here?
No, not here. I saw
just in places or anything?
Yeah, another place. I can't remember what it was.
Well, I mean, I think that people should do that more often, where they look at other places, see what they're doing. It doesn't matter if it's a big city or not. You can make something like that work in a little town.
Well, and when all this crap with COVID, I'm like, you know what? This is a perfect time to bring back the drive-in movie theater.
Oh yeah, I went to so we had a couple, not where I live, but like where I go visit. And I went to it twice, and it wasn't with like a girlfriend. It was just because it would be like 3 movies for the price of 1.
Right.
So you just go there and you're like, I want to watch.
What I would say to do is, like, don't put new movies, because you're not going to go sit in a drive-through movie theater to watch a brand new movie that you want to watch in 7.1 IMAX, whatever. But nowadays, with everybody's modern vehicles, you could probably have it where the sound from the show comes out your own speakers. So everyone's got satellite. Yeah, Bluetooth, right? But do it like a dollar theater, right? And just have charge like $5 a car or $10 a car.
If it was like even $10 a car, and they were like, "We're going to be playing E.T."
Dude, right?
Like I would just go just so I could hear people be like, "No, E.T."
Right? He's found it out. I had that toy, where he's typing on it.
I would want the experience of like that kind of thing if something like came up to be. They expect people to be yelling at the screen.
Right. I got E.T. for a Christmas present. That's how old I am. The movie, right as it came out.
You ever played on Atari?
No.
It is
unplayable.
Well, you can beat it, but it is the number one hardest game ever made. And did you ever hear the conspiracy about the ET graveyard?
Oh, where they buried a bunch of them? And they found it.
They found it.
Yeah.
So it was an actual thing where it made a lot of money, but then nobody would buy the games.
Well,
So,
because
like,
it was a marketing genius strategy. Like they marketed the crap out of it, and like people bought it, and then they went, "Whoever designed this game did a terrible job."
well, and like I was watching a thing on it just the other day. That's why I was thinking about this. And the guy that made it, the reason why it was so bad is they gave him like a month to make it. So that's why he was like, okay. They paid him up front.
Right. Oh, I saw the story. It was pretty good. I didn't mark it. I should have marked it on my phone. I would be better off. But this Danish painter got the money from this museum, right? Because they got some of his paintings. They're like, we want you to recreate your paintings, right? Here's $87,000 up front to do this.
What did he call it?
Take the money and run.
Yeah.
So he's like, so a few months later, they get their canvases in from this guy, right? And he's like, the paintings are like, he's like, well, I changed the name a little bit. I changed some stuff. They open the package up. The canvases are blank, and it says, take the money and run. I'm like, well, that's genius because it's art. It's still art.
Yeah.
But it's named Take the Money and Run.
They're going through legal things, though.
Well, it's not even that. It's like he hasn't run from them or done anything. The thing is like once they display them and do all that stuff, he's supposed to give the money back. It's kind of a weird situation, right? So they don't know if there's going to be any legal issues because, in fact, the museum's like, well, that's kind of on us. We kind of screwed up. We agreed to it.
He has until like
the first
January.
Yep.
Something
to return the money, and then they'll give him the paintings back because that's the deal.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was like he's being creative and a jerk at the same time.
Well, and if you think about it, so I'm looking at it from an artist's point of view.
Right.
Because what that is, it was the money to get him started so that he could make this gallery that they would then help promote a little bit and make it so that people would come to it, and then he would make money on selling, right? Selling his paintings. So why not do this to create this story to add more
publicity to it, right? The guy who did this, the CEO of the museum, he actually laughed when he saw it because he's like, how did I not see it coming? Like, right? But the according to the Euronews, Tom Bateman, the spokesperson for the museum, says that the institution has gotten a written agreement with the artist that the money must be returned when the exhibit ends on January 16, 2022. But the artist tells Danish radio program that he has no plans to repay the cash. The work is that I have taken their money, he says. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what actually happens.
Yeah.
Because you can't say, he's like, well, he didn't do anything. Well, it's art. Art is all about interpretation.
Well, the other thing, too, though, is that you got to think about is from a legal point of view, if he just painted it white, that would be art because he has done nothing to it. He's then plagiarizing the people that made that canvas.
Right. So, and here's the deal. Like, even if he doesn't give the money back, people are going to go there.
Yeah.
Because they've read the story and they're like, you know what? I got to see it.
They want to go see the blank.
So
painting.
you're making more money off of people just like like they got to pay like $100 or whatever it is to get in to the gallery and see it.
I was tempted. We had a project here at the school that I had to do, and one of them was to create a focal point, and I literally just wanted to put a dot on a page. And then I had another one that was called, you had to pick emotions, and I wanted to just put a dot on a page. And when my professor asked, he was like, well, why just the dot? I was like, for the focal point, come on, it makes sense, and it's really easy.
Mm-hmm.
But then for the feelings, I said it was every emotion that the human body could figure out. And he was like, how so? I was like, because I look at it and it brings me joy because I had to do nothing.
That's the thing with art that you can't teach. Like he can't fail you for that because every person's gonna feel different when they look at a painting.
Well, and that's just it. Like I didn't do that. I just explained it to him. He thought it would be a good idea.
Right.
It
makes sense.
But he did say, he's like, but to get like better grades, you do have to have some degree of difficulty.
Right. I'm terrible about art. Like people like, how does this painting make you think? And say I'm looking at one of those weird Picassos where people are just all, I'm like, the dude took a lot of drugs before he painted this guy's face.
Right?
Well, how does it
He
make you
was.
feel? How does it make you feel? I'm like,
I mean, Picasso was pretty messed up.
but it doesn't make me feel anything. It's just a weird painting.
But it does. It just made you feel weird.
Right. But
it makes you be like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
And that's why I like art as like an artist. But I'm kind of like you, where I can't look at, like, we've got a couple things in here. And
Andy Warhol got extremely popular because he painted cans of soup.
Yeah.
Like things we see every day. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to paint a Campbell's tomato soup.
But at the time, it was something different.
Well,
Nobody thought of it.
Yeah. Well, and what constitutes art? Like you no one can say
Well,
what
I mean, it's
constitutes
like
art.
thinking about, like, for me, I look back and we're getting older. There's been a lot of.
We're surrounded by art, by the way.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, we've been the music has changed drastically
Right.
over our.
Isn't art defined by anything that has an emotional effect on yourself? Isn't that what
Art is
constitutes
defined
art?
by the person that makes it.
Right? Or is it art? Like if I hang this broom on the wall, is it art or is it just a broom on a wall?
Did you hang it just to hang a broom, or did you hang it to cause something?
But what if somebody just hung a broom on a wall and all of a sudden, like he's say the custodian at like the Smithsonian's art
He
institute,
put it
like,
up against the wall.
he's just leaning there and it's some art dude who's like, I am so into art. This broom, custodian at rest. Like he thinks it's art, but the
Right.
custodian's like, I got my broom. He's like, where are you going with the art? Just a broom, dude.
Yeah. But that's
It's all a matter of interpretation.
that's why I love art. Like for me, and like
I can't do art because I can't draw.
But it's not even about that.
And
It's
actually,
like,
from now that I think about it, that's a lazy excuse to say why I don't like art because some artists can't draw either, but
Right.
yet they're extremely famous because whatever.
well, I get it. I know exactly what you're saying, and I felt like that for a long time until I got into it more. And it's like I think I've shown you some of the stuff that I do, and I love when I make something and then I show it to people and they have a completely different story behind it than
Right.
I actually thought of.
Right.
And that's the same with like acting. I always tell people when I'm teaching them about acting and stuff that the writer doesn't know anything about the character you're playing. And you tell that to a writer and they're like, no way. I'm like, okay. How many different characters did you imagine when you wrote this? There could be like 15 characters in that. I was like, so how can you focus on one here? You're thinking about
Well,
all
writers for movies, I think, go into, especially a guy who's penning a script, has a general idea of who he wants to play what part. So he writes it for that specific person. Now, this to me is a gamble because let's use The Punisher, for example, right? They're redoing that series, right?
Mhm.
And they're rewriting the scripts for it and all that stuff. I guarantee the writers are going, but Barenthal is going to play this part, right? So we know how to write it for him because he's by far, in a way, the best version of the Punisher we've ever seen.
Yeah, he was really
Tom
good.
Jane, for me, was really good, and he did good in the movie. I think the worst part about that movie was honestly the big name, John Travolta. I mean, it was, and then they pulled. You remember Kevin Nash from wrestling days? From wrestling, he was Diesel all those years. You remember the NWO?
Yes.
They brought him in to play the Russian dude, and they put him in one of those white and red striped shirts. Like how? Like the movie up until that point was really good, and you're like, what? Why go cartoony here?
Why not?
Right.
Derek. It's all about interpretation.
Right. So I think when people write for movies, like people who are writing down a script are like, we have this actor in mind. And this is why when certain actors turn down parts and they're taking my other ones and the movie's not that good, it's because that part wasn't written for that person. Now,
Yeah.
plays are completely different because you have to write that part knowing hundreds of people are going to play that part and everyone's going to interpret that part a little bit differently.
Well, that's just how it works. So, like, I do a lot of things with Matt Theater.
Mhm.
And my biggest, a pet peeve that I have is when a director tells me to watch a video of somebody else doing it.
Why?
Because they want me to do it that way.
No. Why would you do that? Like that's
Yeah, well, that's just my point. Is I know for the most part they go, well, we want you to see what it's like, but as soon as you watch something that you've never seen before, you mimic it
right.
because you're too nervous to try something different. And I still do something different. And if there's any actors listening, I'm going to give you one tip of advice. And this is something I tell every director that I've ever had. As soon as the curtain goes up, they have no say in what you do.
No. The director can just go there, oh.
So,
I screwed up.
I always tell my directors, I'm like, I will listen to what you say. I will take it to heart and consider it. But that's what I do.
Well, the directors picked you for the part, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they have to have that little bit of faith in you to know that you know what you're doing. So while they can direct you, hence it's right in the name of what the person is, they can push you towards a certain direction, but they're never going to be able to corral or control exactly. I mean, that would never work.
Yeah.
Can you imagine trying to direct Jim Carrey? Like 90% of his movies are improv because they can't. Well, they write his part, but the dialogue changes because he's like, you know what? In this part of this film, I feel like one of the funniest scenes in Dumb and Dumber in the van, where he does that whole that entire scene.
Most annoying sound in the world
is improv because you're like there was just dead space here.
Well, yeah, and you can even see that they're
Jeff Daniels is dying,
yeah.
And he's trying not to break character, right? But I mean, he's just like there's dead space in this scene, and we needed to fill it with something. And Jim Carrey just also he's like, "You want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?" Like it just popped in his head while the camera was rolling.
One thing that this place has an actually pretty big amount of actors, and I wish that they could have gone to like Vancouver, where I kind of live, because that's a booming place for.
They film a lot of stuff up there,
but they have so many student films that I got to do. Like I felt like hundreds, and most of them are free. Sometimes they give you a little they'll give you like $200 to be like thanks for helping.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember I was in one, and I got the part because I had done a show with this guy, the director, before. And when I showed up at the audition, he was like, and I go by Roy when I'm doing this. He was like, "Roy, get out of town." I didn't even think. He's like, "I saw the name; it looked familiar." And then he said, "So as soon as I saw you, yeah, okay, yeah, we can do this." And we were doing the stuff, like doing the show. And at one point, I come home drunk.
Ooh.
Yeah, and my girlfriend's there. And she's like, I had lied to her and said I had to go to my Uncle Remy's funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And she's home. And I walked through the door, and I remember it was supposed to be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Instead of like, "Oh no."
Mm-hmm.
And we tried it like 10 times. Did it a whole bunch of different ways because the director, at least in film, you can stop and go, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, "Can you try it this way? Can you try it this way?" And then for the last one, he's like, "You do improv, right?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Can you just do what you think feels right?" So I remember I walked through the door, and I'm like, "Hey, how's it going?" And she went to talk. I'm like, "What are you doing here?" So I interrupted her. And she just looked at me. I was like, "What are you doing here?" She's like, "Well, I was like, oh my God, you didn't trust me?" And then I just went off the rails. And every time she tried to talk, I cut her off. And then I slowly walked away and then finished my last line of being like, "I can't believe that you would do this to me." And then walked into the bedroom at a view. And when it was done, he looked at me. He said, "That's the one."
Right.
So I was like, that's what improv can do when you're good at it, is you can bring real life into. And I don't know, that's why everybody needs to learn it. But that wouldn't have been as good if I didn't know how the scene was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
So it still had to be structured. I couldn't just go off and slap her, and walk away.
Well, it was pretty funny because like last night when we were gaming, I did a pretty funny thing with your wife. We were trying to figure out this puzzle, right? So you had to throw this big boulder, and Sammy's like, "Can we throw the cabbages?" And just like I was like, "Yeah."
I love that. I almost felt like you should have drawn it out of it though, because even me, I'm sitting there, I'm like, "Is this gonna work?" And it's like you throw the Kardik. Yeah. So our barbarian throws this cabbage as hard as he can, and he's like, "It goes and it explodes when it hits the ground." And it should have just been this long pause of, did we do it, Derek? Did it work? And you're like, they say no.
That's like, well, what was she expecting? Like, no, you can't throw the cabbage. Yes, you could throw the like. He took it as a very literal question. Is the way I looked at it.
I like it when stuff like that happens, where it's just You know, and it's happened to all of us where, you know, I'm like, I'm going to balance on this beam. Okay.
Where you're expecting a very intelligent, like grafted answer, and then you realize that was probably the wrong way to phrase that question. To where she should have been like, "Can we throw the cabbages instead of the boulder?" And she's like, "No, can we just throw the cabbage?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Well, the best part too was the I speak giant.
She was excited.
Well,
you were like, "Is giant even a language?" And she's like, "I speak giant."
Well, the cool thing is this is what I like about playing that stuff is, and I
Which
mean,
is weird, 'cause
she's still kind of new at it.
Yeah, well, and I try and jump more into the improv thing with it. Like I try, like the dude you guys ran into the tavern.
I don't think she realized that we were just as excited as she was when she said, "I speak giant," because I was like, "Yes,
we could talk to them."
Because there was, it's a good thing they figured it out because I was starting to lose I was tired. I was getting tired, and I was about to try to blindfold them and then say we did it.
They've only got one eye.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So, because I didn't want to attack them, but I was like, man, if we can just quickly blindfold them, and when they go to take it off, have Carter be like, ugh, and then we put the other boulder a little bit further, be like, did it, man. And I was also trying to figure out a way because, the guy said throw further than brother. I was about to try to convince him to see if he could throw further than his brother. Because then we could be like, see, we did it.
Right.
Oh, can you have charmed person and that counted? Or does that not
You'll
work?
never know.
I just like puzzles.
I love it. Like your wife doesn't do it anymore, but before, like outside of game, she'd come up to me and ask me all these questions. Well, could we have done this? What would have happened if I had done this? You don't know.
That's just like when she messages you and says, "How's our child?" and you don't say anything.
I don't respond. Like
You did last time.
I am super proud of her this weekend because she didn't message me once.
Well, she did. She messaged you once, and you said she asked if everything was okay, and you said yeah.
No, this weekend she didn't.
Yeah.
No,
because I saw it. I couldn't sleep. I can't sleep in hotel rooms.
she didn't message me anything.
She messaged the group and asked how the kids were.
No.
Oh, we're going back.
We're going back in time. I just went through all that part where you were crying. Oh.
I remembered. Yes, see? Yes, she did. Amanda said so.
What?
I just remembered you said yeah. You didn't say anything else, but you said yeah.
That's because she messaged at 10:15.
Yeah. She said, did Persephone do okay tonight? And you said, yeah. I wasn't expecting you to say anything.
Yeah. So on hey, we do a lot of weird stuff, but tonight today my wife pointed out that Kilauea, the most active volcano in the world, and it's running currently on it's still continuing to erupt. Most people don't realize it's like oh, volcanoes erupting. Well, Kilauea has been erupting for like the last 30 years. It just hasn't stopped.
Yeah.
But it blew again, like a pretty good sized plume apparently.
Yeah, one of the artists that I follow that does some of the stuff I print, their studio was on the other side from where the lava was going. So there's pictures of the lava coming down it, and the guy's writing. He's like, luckily enough, it's going the opposite way, but we still have to deal with the ash.
Well, I mean that's the thing. Like, if you buy a house on that island, you have to realize that you're building a house on the most active volcano in the world.
Yeah, and if you buy something there, make sure you get volcano insurance.
Like, I don't remember.
Do they have volcano insurance?
I don't think anyone can afford it. Like, you're not. But I mean, that volcano's been going since what, 1990?
Well, and I mean, let's be honest. Most there is no such thing as a completely dead volcano. They're just dormant.
Well, there's some are extinct because the bear paws have two that are no longer. They're gone.
They're gone, but there's still the potential that something could happen that activates them again. It's just
like the end of the world.
Well, they just deem it as highly unlikely, right? Because like all of the chutes and everything are there, they just now solidify because they haven't been used.
Well, no, some of them literally have sealed themselves up. They're just like solid, so they can't do anything.
Or they'll find a way.
They will. Life finds a way. Like Jeff Goldblum said.
Yeah.
So, but maybe you'll tell me in the story how long it's been going, because I mean, it's the first major since 2018, but I mean, that volcano has been going. Like since 1952, it's erupted 34 times.
Nice.
This is one thing I don't understand, and I get it. Like, if people want to live on the coast, that's great. But why do people move to the East Coast knowing full well that every 4 years they're probably going to have their house ripped off the ground by a freaking hurricane?
Oh, yeah, like near Florida.
Yeah.
No.
Like, well, you know, like, if you're born there, you kind of stuck. I'm like, well, crap, we're born here. This is kind of the way it is.
Well, I mean, Sammy and I got kind of lucky because before we moved here, there was the potential that we were going to be going to Texas.
Oof.
We would have been there for that crazy ice storm that they had.
That wouldn't have been crazy to you.
It wouldn't have been.
You would have been telling your neighbors, what?
Well, it would have been like, I started freezing. I was like, yeah, because you didn't turn the heat on. It's getting cold now. You got to keep it above 62.
Well, what's weird, like, because I found this out, like in Arizona, they build different, right? Here, all of your heater vents are normally, most of the floor vents are on the floor because you need heat in the winter. It gets cold here, so the heat rises. In Arizona, they put their vents up in the ceilings and up high on the walls because the cold air comes down.
Yeah, and that's what it was like in Georgia, too.
Yep. None of your vents are on the floor.
Nope.
Because you shouldn't turn on your... And I'd imagine you guys didn't even have a heater.
So it did. It had a heater, but when the heat needed to be turned on,
You were comfortable?
I was wanting to go swimming.
You were like comfortable? You're like, yeah, let's go get comfy.
Yeah, like I remember in the middle of winter, we had a snow there, and it shut down the highway. There was a couple snowflakes. It wasn't even like enough to frost the ground. They shut down the highway.
Oh, yeah.
Cars were parked on the side of the road, and by the time afternoon happened, I was swimming in the outdoor pool.
Oh yeah, I remember when one year we went down to see my wife's brother in Arizona. It was January 1st here, 2nd. Well, we celebrated New Year's Eve that night. It was 65 below zero with wind chill outside, right? The next day we flew out to Arizona. It was a balmy 72 degrees. So we literally went like 132 degree temperature flop. And the hotel we stayed at, they're like, the pool's closed. I'm like, why? Because we don't have any lifeguards. Well, you could technically use it, but there's no lifeguards. Why don't people use the pool? It's too cold. I'm like, it's 72.
Yeah.
Do you know where I just came from? I'm like, no, where'd you go? I'm like, Montana.
Yeah. So when Sammy and I were younger, and this was when I asked her to marry me, but we drove from Ontario to Florida. We went to Orlando.
Do you know it rains there every day at 5?
Yeah.
It's so weird.
But we were there, and I remember there was an outdoor pool, and we were at this cheap motel, and I remember the guy was mad because I found a coupon to make him $10 a night. And he was
He's like, it's 35 a night, and you're gonna give me another. You're gonna hit me with a coupon.
And there was a coupon. I was like, it's $10 a night, and he's like, that's only for one night, man. I was like, it doesn't say that. It says $10 a night, not $10 one night.
Yeah, not $10 for a single night.
He was like, whatever. He just gave it to us. But the rooms were like garbage. We just wanted a place to sleep, right? But there was a pool, and I remember we went out to it, and we touched it. I was like, this feels like pee. Like it felt like warm pee water. And I was like, who swims in this?
It wasn't the wrong color, was it?
It was like a greeny color.
Yeah. Wow. So, good news for all you Star Wars fans out there. They're coming out with a new trilogy, and it has nothing to do with the Skywalkers.
Good. Maybe it'll be about the Ewoks. That's what we want.
Dude, did you ever watch the Ewok cartoon?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember when that came out on television. I just introduced my daughter to the Ewok movies a couple months ago. Those are awesome.
Well, blasters can't stop a walker, but a rock from an Ewok can.
Cool. You got to hit it from on both sides, though. Boom.
Oh, yeah. The crush.
But, yeah, a Star Wars leak reveals a shocking new trilogy, even bolder than Visions. I don't know what that means because I don't follow Star Wars that well. I'm an original.
Visions is like this new thing where they're showing, I think, different things.
But as far as I know, that what this says is that this is going to take place way before.
Oh my goodness! Why can't they just make it way after?
Because it happened a long, long time ago in a universe far, far away.
Yeah, but why can't it be like?
So honestly,
in a galaxy far, far away, just last week ago.
Right. But anyway, so you get to learn about some of the really old storylines and see what's crazy is that to me is that Star Wars took on a life of its own. To me, Star Wars is the original three movies: Star Wars Episode 4, 5, 6. Then they're like, hey, Spielberg's in the late 90s, early 2000s. Let's do some prequels. And I was stoked for the prequels. And then I watched them and I wasn't so stoked anymore. We don't need to discuss why, because everybody knows why. Not one character. One character didn't ruin it for me.
I'm just going to say something, and people are not going to like me.
What? You don't like Star Wars?
No, I don't mind. I like it for like the movie.
Here's my honest opinion. Of all the 9 movies that are out there, however many, which one did you like the best?
I like the Ewok one.
Episode 7.
Because I thought it was really cool to see the guerrilla warfare of the bears.
Right? Like, most people are either like Return of the Jedi or Empire Strikes Back is probably their favorites. Usually they're old people like us. Yeah. But you talk to the new millennials and they're like, I really liked Episode 8, which was just a remake of Episode 4 with different character names. But it's the same plot.
The thing that I always get flack for is I actually liked Jar Jar Binks.
I didn't care.
Like, because I watched it just because it's a movie.
Right? Yeah, that's the way I looked at it too. And when they did that, and then everybody's like, oh, did you hear the turmoil with all the racism and stuff? And I'm like, what racism? Jar Jar Binks. I'm like, it's a weird alien dude with messed up ears who can't talk straight.
Yeah, it's like, it'd be like me trying to speak German, right? I'd probably be sounding like that too to them.
I didn't see it, right? No, I'm not trying to be insensitive. I just didn't see it, right? Mm-hmm. Now, it happened again in a Michael Bay film with Transformers, the second one, I want to say, where they had the 2 twin robots that talked like they were from the gangsters.
Or whatever?
Yeah, they were gangsters or whatever. Okay, that's a little bit whatever. But I look at movie, and you and I when we watched Slapshot, that movie couldn't be made right now. Like, no. I mean, you'd have to take the current script and go, we can call it Slapshot, but the rest of this has got to go.
They would allow the hockey playing.
If you could call that's what that was.
But nothing else. Almost everything else.
Every line of dialogue has just got to go.
Because the dialogue on the ice, besides when he's talking about that guy's wife to the goalie, because he says some things that probably wouldn't be allowed to be on.
But can you imagine? You know what? And I wouldn't put it past somebody to have actually said something similar to that in a game.
I'm pretty sure I have.
But you wouldn't say it to someone's face who you're like, oh, I know that. But
I don't think I'd be that crass.
But that comes down to the whole theater and art thing. And like I said, where was it? And I didn't think it was as big a deal as everyone made it out to be.
Well, the thing
they're robots, man, and it's an alien race, right? They didn't put people in those positions; they put weird alien races in those positions.
And like the hard thing that I have, and this is from just an artist's point of view, is if I made a character about you, mm-hmm. and I was like, man, you know what? I'm making a movie. This character reminds me of Derek, and I mimicked it after you, and then somebody watched it and was like, that's not right. They shouldn't be allowed to, but it's based off of somebody I know.
Right.
So like, let's say those 2 characters, he had 2 buddies that were like that, and maybe he was like, hey, can I make some Transformers after you guys? They'd be like, it's cool, man, right? But now you get attacked because you did something that reminded you of something from when you were younger, or. And I think it's a hard line because you can never tell, right? But I always find it's like
no matter what you do, and we're doing it right now, you're gonna offend somebody.
Oh yeah,
like it doesn't matter because everybody's different and they have their own opinions on things. It's how you handle that. Facebook and Twitter and social media are huge things. I can scroll through my social media and see somebody post something really stupid, and just keep going.
Yeah.
right? But then there are those people who can't. They have to stop. They have to comment. I won't mention her name, Sammy.
Your wife does the same
I
thing.
know, right? But that's the way they feel, and you should be allowed to do so.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with it.
You and I are the type that go.
But you and I both accept the fact that you're not going to change anybody. Oh God, we got in trouble with that one. You're not going to change anyone's mind on Facebook.
No.
It doesn't matter what the topic is.
What I like to do, and what I like to do.
I apologize right now, but
and I still do it. Is if something I read on Facebook or whatever offends me,
right?
I write my answer, then delete it without ever hitting enter.
Right.
So I write it all out. I look at it, and I'm like, I feel better because I've written it and you've gotten it out. But there's no point in sending it because most of those people don't.
Do you want to contend and deal with the headache that's going to come after it?
Well, and it would just be an argument, and it's an argument that I feel like you can't win because most people don't want to change their mind.
But what I want to get to mostly is that if you feel the need, comment. That's what your God-given right is to do it. Me, I'm just like, don't have time for that. Like that hurts so bad, my brain. I can't even comment on that.
Well,
I just keep going.
I'm not going to get too political, but I have issues with a certain president.
Former.
Yeah. But I just had to. What I ended up having to do is, if somebody offended me too much, I didn't unfriend them. I just made it so I don't see their posts.
Yeah, like I would snooze it for 30 days.
Well, I feel like I was like, you're not somebody that I talk to all the time, but I like to have the option of being able to
my biggest issue is I think that social media has turned into something that it wasn't designed to do. I think Facebook was literally meant to keep you in contact with people you were legit friends with.
It started in a university. They're supposed
to I saw the movie.
The students.
Yep, and they sued him for it, and he still stole it. But it was designed to keep in contact with close friends and family and talk about how things are going, not like what your political beliefs and views are. Mm-hmm. Like losing a friend over your political views makes no sense to me.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Because you're never going to agree with it. Like you're married to somebody whom you have different opinions than.
I don't think she ever agrees with me, but I have to agree with her.
Well, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's what would she say? What's yours is mine, and what's mine is mine.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that out because I'm going to rant right now, and I want your opinion on this.
Oh, God.
So we don't get pop too much in our house, and we had 4 cans of pop. I drank 2. Sammy had drank 1. There was still 1 left in the fridge. Okay? I left. She had her scene partner over. And she didn't want to drink it, so she offered it to them. So we have 0 left in the fridge. Mm-hmm. And I told her that I left it for her, and if she didn't want it, I expected it to be mine. But I was like, and I mean, I was joking, but I was like, you should have asked permission before you gave it to him, because I wanted that pop, because I was looking for it today.
Oh.
And she's like, no. But I felt like, that she should have asked me.
But how many? Yeah, I mean, no. You could just go down and buy yourself another soda. You're a grown man.
Okay, what do you think she would do if there was only enough for 1 glass of iced coffee and I gave it to somebody else and she came home and
she's done it at my house.
Yeah, what'd she do?
She took it. That was great. Like, so you guys came over for those games, right? And she's like drinking iced coffees, and she's like, oh. And Amanda, the next day, she wanted an iced coffee, and there was like Sammy left like a ½ inch because I didn't drink it all with Sammy's explanation, because you can't deny you were sitting right there. It's like I didn't drink it all. I left her some.
But how did that make Amanda feel?
Oh, she was pissed.
Right. So I'm not out of line.
No. But the thought was there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't really care, but to me, it was just funny that those thoughts kind of went through my head at that moment. I'm like, I wanted that.
The inner 5-year-old comes out, right?
Yeah.
But if it's not yours, it's mine.
Or because I mean, if I had company over, like if you were over and you went into my fridge and grabbed it, I would have been like, whoa, I gotta ask Sammy.
Well, if you come over to my house and we're gonna watch a hockey game and there's only 1 Molson left, I expect you to leave that for me.
That's not true at all, but I'd be like, dude, you got to stop at the store before you come over because I've only got one Molson left and I'm about to drink it.
Oh, we're going to need a lot of that. Hockey season's when I actually enjoy having some drinks.
Yeah, I see everybody drinking on the bench, and I'm like, I can't.
I don't need to do that. I like it when we go to like away tournaments because that's kind of like the fun thing to do. But I enjoy. So what I do sometimes is I'll go and we'll play like a game, and if I'm not staying there the whole night, when I come home, I'll have one before as I'm relaxing. But it's just, I think that's more of like it's built into me in the adult league because every adult league I've went to, the first one I played in, they literally, it was all games. It wasn't like just hang out with a bunch of guys. We played actual games. But you'd get there, and I remember the first time I was there, they were like, they pointed to this one guy. They're like, "Did you bring it?" He's like, "Yeah," and he had two 4s of beer. And so
that's Canadian. You got to explain what that means.
So a 2-4 is a 24 can case of beer.
Right.
So we had 2 of those.
We don't call them 2-4s.
Yeah. But so I found out that at the start of every game, every game, somebody is designated to buy that and bring it. And it works out that everybody does it once throughout the season. And, that's what got me into drinking with hockey.
I can't. I feel bloated and I want to throw up.
Well, we did it after. So you didn't do it because we actually.
Not to mention, I play the most difficult position to drink beer at.
Yeah. Well, I mean, where I played, though, in Vancouver, it was fun, but it's competitive.
So were you there the night Kayla tried to put beer in her squirt bottle?
No.
The pressurized ones that you squeeze and the beer comes out?
It'd just be foam, wouldn't it?
Well, no, the problem is that because it's carbonated, right?
Oh,
it just kept coming out of the spout. Because it would pressurize the bottle, it would squeeze itself out.
Yeah.
She's like, it didn't work. Nope. What I did do one night though is I just hauled over to the bench, kind of did the goalie fat guy flop over the bench, grabbed the first beer I could grab a hold of, took a big old chug of it, and put it back, and hurried back to the net. Because I can't even put my water bottle on top of the net without it becoming a target. You're as guilty as the next guy.
Okay. I only do that now to piss you off.
Why'd you do it the first time?
The first time to see if it was. No, but I mean, so things have kind of changed for me with adult hockey. When I was younger, but I played in competitive leagues.
You're right.
So you were joking around with your buddies, but I didn't like the team I played against.
No, but you didn't shoot at your goalie's water bottle.
No, but I mean, I'm just trying to give like an atmosphere, I guess. Because now that I'm here, there is no competitive hockey.
Not for adults, no.
There is. Go and you can be competitive, but it's really just to have a good time and enjoy the sport, even at the higher levels.
It's just I play the loneliest position on the ice. Like I know, but the thing is, like, I get 30 seconds of and then everybody's on the other end, and I'm like, there's some nights where I don't even see anybody for 5-10 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
But
with that one game, I thought about standing back there with you.
Because the goalie is literally by himself.
Yeah.
But that's what you choose.
But that's why you dance.
Yeah. I want to turn
him to have videos of
I gotta stay loose, man.
Yeah.
And then when the rushes do happen, I'm like, I am not ready for this.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean.
By the way, did you see that photo Amanda sent?
She sent a photo?
Yes, right after the volcano eruption. It's in our group chat.
Yeah, I didn't want to comment on it.
Why?
Because it makes me want to eat it, but I just need some time.
The thing is you're like, you're uninvited now because you said no last night. I asked you if you wanted to come over for dinner.
I have good reasons.
I know. And Amanda made an apple blackberry pie for dessert.
And then post it to the group.
Yeah.
Just to make us be like,
you should wait for what we're having for dinner.
Well,
while you're
different because it was going to be me making it.
While you're sitting at home.
By myself, pretty much.
Pushing back homework assignments till the very last minute.
Well, I only got 2.
Right? So you're like, I'll start at 11:30.
You should see my bee design. I wanted to prove to my professor that I could do something really good in like a short amount of time.
Oh,
So I did a full design and what did I do?
nothing. Yeah, buddy. Homemade biscuits.
Okay, that's an American thing.
Well,
If you say
you want
biscuits
no.
and gravy, it doesn't matter.
No, it's not gravy, but we are having fried chicken.
I lived in Georgia. I do like chicken.
Fried chicken and mashed potatoes
Oh, I do like mashed potatoes.
with pie for dessert.
Mashed potatoes. So you would have had Sammy with pie and chicken.
And you
And
with
you
just
have
food.
me with just food, yeah.
But your wife has got rehearsal. You guys are too good to hang out with us. The last night, actually, we may be able to do it. No, we won't be able to do it because of hockey, right?
But we hang out.
So,
at lunch.
hey, Revelation, Barry, this is not our last Sunday. What's happening the 9th and 10th?
Well, there's that camp, but remember we got to figure out when the times are because they still might have the camps should never take over what is scheduled for the kids. So the 3:00 thing should still be happening for Aurora.
The Aurora doesn't start hockey until November.
Oh, they really? That's weird. So who's using the ice then?
Bantams up.
That's
Squirts, bantams and up.
dumb.
The 8U doesn't start until November.
Oh, I thought they'd just do it all.
Nope. That's what you get for thinking.
Yeah. Oh well. What do I know?
Nothing. That's we don't know.
I've just been doing hockey my whole life, and I've seen programs build and grow. And
So, history. Well known. It is well known. This is a terrible transition, but I don't want you to get going on hockey again. This is well known that we both agree that most of the world knew that the Americas were here before Columbus, right? The only people who didn't know this were people in Europe because they were stuck in the Dark Ages because, well, they literally threw themselves into the Dark Ages. But apparently, a scholar discovered a 14th century monk had actually wrote about the Americas before Columbus's discovery. So,
I'm telling you, monks, man.
right? They listen. The first Europeans to set foot on the American shores are believed to be the Norse sailors or Vikings in the 10th century. But despite this, most of the Europeans in Southern Europe didn't really know about it because, well, they were stuck in the Dark Ages because, well, after Rome fell, all Rome's knowledge and all that stuff, technology kind of went out the door, and people were like, "There's witches
Man,
and werewolves."
I'm telling you right now. So, like, my wife wrote on this thing when we were talking about who's right and stuff. She says you have to agree with me because I'm right. We go back to those times. We could be having a different conversation right now. I'm just letting her know. All I have to do is say she was a witch.
I'm just gonna say though, if quite possibly, if we had listened to females and people of other race and ethnicity, we might be in a bit different place right now.
Well, yeah, if we treated everybody
Equally?
then this world would have flying vehicles, and we.
Oh, dude, we'd be playing hockey right now. Yeah,
You could have ice at whatever you wanted.
exactly. If people could just get along for more than 10 seconds.
But let's be honest, there's people that you and I can't even get along with for 10 seconds.
Which is really weird because we get along with just about everybody.
I know there's certain people, and my wife knows who I'm talking
Well, so maybe it's not that we don't get along with them, but we tolerate. We have a really high tolerance for.
Yeah, I mean, I can look at everybody and pretend they're only three.
Well, everybody knows this, and they can deny it if they want, but there was always the cliques in school, right?
Mm-hmm.
The different cliques. I never fit in any one, but then I realized I was my own clique because I fit in all of them. Really, I could go hang and have a conversation
We were like
with anybody,
chameleons,
right?
because that's what I did. I remember being on the hockey bus, and they'd be like making fun of the kids in vocal music and choir. I'm like, yeah, like me.
So I spent a lot of time in a car yesterday with your wife and my wife and the kids.
Okay.
That was daunting. The 90s radio music was whoa.
Your wife is obsessed with 90s music, by the way.
Yeah, I know when she's been driving because I go in, and 90s on 9 is blaring.
Right? Like, Sarah McLachlan must have been just belting something out here. But anyway, we got what were we talking about? I lost
my wife in the car with you guys.
Yeah.
And you said how daunting it was.
Yeah, but there was a purpose to it, and I don't remember what it was. Like,
hey, I had one of those moments.
What were we talking before we went into that?
I don't remember. I don't keep track.
Your wife, and I remember, right? Everybody has that kid or that friend they grew up with, like they were brothers without being brothers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had made the comment yesterday to your wife that we were like quite literally brothers from another mother, right? Like because we have it's stupid how much stuff we have in common.
It is.
And I had made the comment. Do you know how weird, how crazy it would have been, and how much stupid things we would have done if we'd actually been friends when we were kids?
I don't think I'd be alive.
Neither of us would have been, or at least not in as good a shape as we are now. But every guy has that friend, and your wife mentioned that everybody has that friend. Yours was a Scott, and then and I had the guy that I was like with, but I never had what I have in common like now with my best friend back then. He was a little different than I am.
It's getting emotional
here, right? Bring it to you. Can you imagine the Bryan Adams that would have been going on?
Oh man, every girl would have wanted us.
Oh,
like we would have been the studs of the town because they'd be like,
"What are we now?"
Well, we're old now.
We're silver foxes.
Yeah, and right now we go down and they're like, "Oh, dang, that's Amanda and Sammy's husbands. We can't do anything because they'll kill us."
Right. And Sammy knows how to hide a body.
I honestly, like, if a girl knows us and they know who our wives are, and if they are attracted, I don't think so because
they don't have the gall to say anything.
They would not do nothing because they would die.
And like I said, Sammy knows how to get rid of a body.
Yeah,
she teaches that.
I've told her, I kind of wish a girl would hit on me when she's around because I'd like to see what she would do.
She'd just stare at you.
No, I would like her to, because she knows what I would do. I've done it before. When I think a guy's hit on her, I'll walk over and be like, "Hey, how's it going?"
Here's what would happen when a girl hits on you. You're like, "Huh?"
Oh yeah. Or
because you walk away and Sammy, like, you realize that girl was hitting on you. You're like, "What?
No, she
wasn't. We were just talking."
You do the grin where you're like, "Was she?" No.
I'm too dense. No. How did I get?
But
what?
She just. What?
And then she's like, "Yeah, you're a moron." I got nothing to fear.
Well, it was like, so I remember when I went to the Lewistown tournament, and we went, and one of the guys, we were at a bar and they were doing karaoke. One of the guys was like, "I dare you to sing karaoke. I'll give you $10." I was like,
little did they know you love karaoke.
Yeah. So I was like, "Really?"
You should have. What you should have done is been like, "I don't know, man. I'm freaked out," and get the pot rising, right?
Yeah. I should have, but I went up by saying, and then this girl came up to me afterwards, and she's like, none of my friends want to do it. Will you sing "Picture" with me? And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I'd never sang that with anybody before at that point.
Is that Kid Rock song?
And Sheryl Crow. So I was like, okay, and I sang that, and we're singing it. And when we finished, she was like, "Thank you so much." And like, I'm just gonna go. Let's pretend that she might have been hitting on me or something. I don't think she was. I think she was just.
You're too dense to know. That's what I'm saying.
But what I said at the end, when she was like, "Oh, thank you so much," I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna have to get my wife to sing this with me because I'd never sang it with someone before."
Yeah.
And it's like, "Thank you."
Like, she just kind of ran off like, "Oh,
well, that one's done."
So apparently your wife's like, "You just want to see me fight." We won't use the last word. I can tell you right now.
Yeah, I do.
As I have seen several brawls, nothing compares to a girl fight.
Yeah.
Like, and if anybody asks you, "Would you fight a girl?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah, they fight dirty.
They are mean. Like, yes, I would probably win, but I will come out without eyeballs and scratches and fingernails in places that
I wouldn't want to win
no.
because I feel like I lost.
You did win. You beat a girl. But what? But so you're stuck between a rock and a hard place there, right? You beat a girl in a fight. Oh, you beat a girl in a fight. Or you lose to a girl in a fight. You're either way. You're like, it doesn't matter.
So I kind of ran into this once, and it was I was raised don't hit a girl.
Right.
But over the course of my
Unless
life,
she's coming at you with a frying pan and a knife.
as over the course of my life, there are girls that are stronger than me.
And tougher than you.
Yeah. So I mean, in
You
reality,
married one.
But
Yeah.
pretty tough. But I was dating this girl, and
She would do the pinky thing to you, and it would just be hilarious. Where they stab you right here, you just
she
go.
got mad at me. They were kind of like joking around, and I did the thing where you grab somebody's thumb and press it,
Oh, that
and
hurts.
she was like, she was like, I was like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
So sorry.
But I was dating this girl, and my buddies and I always played that game where you would just be like, come on, hit me in the shoulder, and we just drive
Hurts,
each other,
don't it? Yeah.
right? And then we'd be like, oh, right? And then we'd see if we could make a bruise appear. And she was like, I want you to do that to me. And I was like,
No, you really don't.
No. But she kept nagging me and just telling me that she's like, why? Is it because of the girl? And she started playing that kind of card. I was like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah, I hauled off.
Can you sign a waiver really quick?
I hauled off and drove her in the shoulder like I would one of my buddies. She couldn't use the arm for like a week.
That's a bad spot because, like, your hand will go numb. Like,
Well, what I
every
used to
time-
do to my one, I
You
had
gotta
one-
find the point. There's a point, like right in here where the muscle, there's a nerve, and you hit that thing, you go numb from your elbow to your fingertips.
I had one buddy that used to get mad at me because he's like, "You never hit me in the shoulder." I was like, "Yeah, I do. It's just the shoulder blade." So I would go like I was gonna hit him, and then I'd hit him right in that back part. So he's like, "Ah."
Also, trick, you can go first and hit them in the arm that they punch with.
Oh, yeah.
And then they don't want to play anymore. So, but
Oh.
that brings me to like she said, just haul off and deck me. And first of all, I would never pick a fight with your wife for multiple reasons. Usually one of them being included a hospital visit. But people are against like girls boxing and MMA. I'm like, why?
Yeah, I don't see any problem with it.
Like, no.
I honestly think
What-
that when it
what-
comes to hockey, they should be allowed to hit.
Like if a girl, and this is, I've never seen or heard of this, but if a girl decided she wanted to fight in a male division, why can't she? Right? I know in wrestling they allow it in certain places where female wrestlers are allowed to wrestle with the guys. Like, why not? If they want to.
Yeah, but that
Now I-
always begs the question though. Then why can't a guy go to a girls' division?
Right. Well, and there shouldn't be anything stopping him, but the thing.
I honestly think it should just be weight class.
Right.
And if you want to go into that weight class, and you can.
Traditional thinking is going to be, and it's going to happen this way, unless it's like if your wife went into a kickboxing match with a guy of her same weight class, right? Being because males are built the way we are, odds are in his favor. But in a fight, everybody knows one punch can change everything, right? But odds are physically she's outmatched.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not always about physique; it's about
But
skill.
what I'm saying in fighting,
Yeah.
for a big one is a big one. Fighting, like there's a reason why like it wouldn't be fair.
Well, like I mean, even if you
But-
get me into a fight with a guy that's
Sports, on the other hand, I completely like hockey, basketball, baseball, football. If a girl wants to play that,
I don't
Yeah,
so like
why
I
not?
don't follow much girls things besides hockey.
I know female hockey's a lot of fun.
But
to
I
watch and
remember
watch.
when I was young, hockey for girls, I used to watch it, and my dad and I would laugh because I was better than that at the age I was. But that was before you understand that they didn't get training.
Nope.
They didn't get
Nothing.
nothing. And then now I look at it, and I'm like,
Nope.
nope.
After watching Kayla put both her toes on the post while she's in the RVH, I'm like, I would split in two.
Yeah, she did like a 6-foot split.
It is exactly 6 foot from post to post, and she's got both toes on the poles. And I'm like, oh.
I think it really, for me, it just comes down to what we give to those athletes.
Right.
So, I mean, if you sit there and you're like, well, no, a girl can't compete against a guy. I'm like, well, yeah, you look at the resources that she has compared to what he's got, and that's why.
You give him the exact same resources, I believe it. And physical toughness is there's no question to me that they're equal. Physical strength may be the only thing because of just the way our anatomy and the body works. Guys have naturally more testosterone, which allows for more muscle.
Well, let me ask you something. Are you afraid of your wife?
Absolutely.
Right? And so am I. So every guy has to know this. Why are we terrified of them?
Because they ruin our lives.
Ever.
Yes.
Right? So everyone knows that a girl can best you up.
Oh, God. Yeah. Like I
So
said,
I don't know why. I feel like the guys that are like, they're single.
they're saying
They don't
definitely.
understand.
Yeah, they just don't know. So what you do is you like, if you okay, here's my plan. You get this would make the ultimate hockey league. You take the dudes on one side, an all guys team versus an all girls team. Except that all girls team are the guys of the team. They're with their wives.
No, Derek.
That's just not fair, is it?
No, she hit me from behind and you guys cheered her.
And so you're like, okay, no. You take my wife, I'll take yours. The problem with this is you put one hand on, you're gonna look at me and go, it's my wife, man.
I hit Amanda.
They
It's
would-
like I can skate you guys.
You to a certain point.
Yeah,
you got to the
I
car.
have to come off the ice at some point.
Exactly. So that's the ultimate game, right? All the guys and then their wives on the opposite team. We're gonna lose that hockey game.
Yeah.
Why?
Well,
You go get her. No,
the score is not going to matter to them.
no, it's not.
It's going to be.
We're gonna be like, that's a penalty. They're like, there's no refs.
Yeah. Or it'd be like, we beat you guys like 2-1, and they're like, there was a score because can you walk?
Oh, where are you sleeping tonight? Barry, can I sleep?
Sammy says I can't sleep there. Oh man, we're over.
We're over.
All right. Well, you've been listening to Average Rants here at KNMC
90.1.
FM, and just remember, we're going to be changing our times. Odds are we probably won't be on next week, but we'll see. But
Maybe it'll get
we'll make a post on
the
KNMC website and our
the Facebook.
the Facebook stuff for when the time change will be. But thanks for listening.
Over now.